Hey there YouTube, this is Fred with Bravo 1 X-Ray. As you can see, we had a great day at the range yesterday. What are we going to do with all this brass? Stay tuned and find out. Okay, what we're going to start with is sorting the brass. When I got home yesterday from the range, I put this in my wet tumbler and with a little bit of Dawn dishwashing detergent and tumbled it for about an hour, hour and a half. What that does is just gets all the dirt and grime, the big carbon deposits off all the brass, and I just throw it all in there as a lump. And now I go through I have all my bins separated. I have my Lake City brass, I have regular 223 brass, I have 223 brass with a factory crimp here. I guess it would also be 556, but that has a factory crimp that's not Lake City. 300 blackout, 308, and 308 military. So what I do, and I also have 45 and 9mm up here respectively. So what I've done is I went through the range, I picked up all of my own brass, and then we were there kind of late, so I was able to walk through the range and pick up what everyone else left behind basically. So I ended up actually getting a lot of 300 blackout brass, which is great. I personally don't have a 300 blackout right now, but I have a very good friend that does, and I'm doing the reloading for him. So for me to be able to find all this additional brass was awesome. Anyway, so what I'll do is I'll just start separating and sorting this stuff, checking all the head stamps. I won't make you sit through the whole thing, the whole process, but you know, you have a 556 here, check the head stamp. It's a Federal Cartridge Company, so it does have a factory crimp, so it goes in the factory crimp. This is a very long process, but in the end it is beneficial because now we have it all separated. We load what we want to load in the brass that we want to load it with. I'll get more into detail with that later, but I'll go ahead and get this all sorted out and I'll come back in a minute. Okay, I was just starting to get rolling here, and what I've found is with all this 300 blackout, it's very confusing when you're just picking it up and checking head stamps to confuse it with the 223 and 556 brass. So I'm just going to go through real fast, pick through it, and find as much this 300 blackout brass as I can, and just move that to the side. It'll just make it easier when having to check all the head stamps and everything else. I'm not really sorting the 300 blackout per head stamp. It's already all remanufactured 223 brass anyway. You know, maybe once we get some really heavy reloading of the 300 blackout, I'll start sorting it by head stamp and brass type. But for now it's just going in a baggie over here and just being separated and pulled out from all the regular brass. So here we go, we'll just keep going here, plugging away. This is a very timely and time-consuming and tedious task, but it needs to be done, and it's all part of the reloading process. So here we go. That was a piece of brass that the neck was so messed up on it that it wasn't even worth reloading, so I just throw it in my scrap box, which is that back box there. No, just keep on searching. The good thing about doing it this way is also you get to kind of see every piece of brass, and you'll see a lot of it 2 and 3 times, and you'll be able to pick out some of the rejects before they get any further into the process and be able to separate them right away. But yep, we'll just keep on plugging away here. So already got all that out of there. All right, looks like we have put at least a pretty good dent in pulling out all that 300 blackout from the brass pile here. But this is what, I mean, I don't even shoot this stuff, and I mean, that's probably 300 rounds of brass. Got to remember that, you know, when reloading, 30% to 40% of your cost is the brass. So if you can come home from the range with more brass than you went, that's actually going to pay for itself over time. So just something to think about. I'm going to keep on sorting here. I did want to point this guy out right here. I picked this up from Cabela's on a Black Friday deal. I think I paid less than $20 for it, but man, this makes sorting head stamps so much better. I mean, you can see them right away, and you just put them into the bins they belong in, you know, and you don't have to squint, doesn't strain your eyes. You just pick them up and go. All right, guys, we're just going to keep knocking this out here. Ooh. Hey, I just found something really special here, I think. This is a piece of 308 brass. It's kind of ugly, but this is Lake City Match brass. This is probably a pretty good piece of brass, so I'm not going to even put this in my pile. I'm going to put it off to the side and then put it with my I have some brass that I put aside that I find that's like match quality or something like that, and I'll put it away. It'll be a good piece of brass for the FLCP Savage Model 10 that I have. So we'll put this one aside. But that's another range find. I didn't shoot that one. Yep, here's another one. Piece of Hornady brass from for 308. Another range find. Once again, this is Lake City brass only. This is 223 non-factory crimped, or no crimp at all. This is factory crimp brass, 300 blackout, and I think this might be out of frame, but I have a 308 just regular and a 308 military separation here. So just keep knocking it out here. Oop, here's another one. Another piece of 308 brass, but this is Lake City long range brass. This is another high quality piece of brass that I'll put aside. I've got quite a few of these that I've found at the range. I have personally never bought any of this stuff, but I probably have about 40 or 50 of these cases now. So I keep finding them, so I keep saving them. We'll put that one aside as well. Here's a piece of factory Norma 223 brass that has a crimp in it actually. So I'll put that one aside. I have some of this Norma brass already that I found the last time I was at the range. And actually my good friend Rusty found it and picked it up for me. But another range brass find there. I'll put that guy there. Another piece of Hornady 308. Another reason for sorting all this stuff out like this, the way I'm doing it, is that the factory brass that does not have a crimp in it saves a step in the brass prep. With the factory crimp, you have to remove the factory crimp with a tool there's many ways of doing it, but you have to remove that. So this actually saves a step. So if you just grab all this brass, then you have one less step that you have to do in the brass prep. All right, guys, getting to the last few here. It didn't take too long. I could see how full that tray was. I mean, I have no idea how many were in there, but I'm guessing, I don't know, 800 or so. And I don't know, about 35, 40 minutes maybe. I've got them all sorted. And just doing the last, I got 4 more here. Alright, all done. Had a couple of my stainless steel pins in here. I'll just collect those real fast. Put those in my tumbler down here. All right. So this was an empty bin before I started. So there's probably 200 in there or so. Lots of Lake City to go through still. Factory crimp brass. Got a 9mm casing here. Range pickup 300 blackout. And I didn't get too much 308 this time. Sometimes I find quite a bit of it, but this time I probably only maybe found 10 or 12. Okay, now I think you got everybody in view here. So right here we have my Lake City brass. We have factory 223 brass, non-crimp. And we have 223-556 crimped brass, that's not Lake City. 300 blackout, 308, and then 308 military brass. So I've got it all sorted and separated. Now it's ready for the next step. What I think I'm going to do is I'm going to load up 500 of these Berry's bulk 223 55 grain full metal jacket boat tails using tack powder. I still have maybe a little bit more than a pound in this 8 pounds here. And we'll get these loaded up and bring you along for the ride. I think what I'll use, I think I'll use this factory crimp brass for that. And that way you can get an idea of what the case prep is on the factory crimp. And it looks like it might be about 500 rounds. It may not quite be 500. I don't know. We'll see. But we're going to get rid of all these here. We'll start doing the case prep on these here. And get everything put away. And I'll be right back. All right, there you have it. That's what I like to do with my brass on the day after the range. I think it's important to sort and segregate your brass in the way that you like to have it sorted and separated. It just makes life easier later on down the road. The way I prefer to do it, as I showed you a couple times, you know, Lake City brass is the preferred brass by most, and it seems to be a little bit better quality and a little more consistent in size and weight, I find. The factory brass that's not crimped would be the easiest to reload because it actually eliminates a step during the case prep process that I'll show you in a later video. But you know, you can see down here, well, maybe I don't know if you can see them, but I have all my bins down there. It's all separated. You can see I got my bench all cleaned up and ready for the next stage. My next video, I'll show you the case prep process and what all that entails and the time frame that it takes. So please subscribe and be notified when my next video is, and we'll just keep going. This is probably going to be a 4 or 5 step process video thing that I'll be doing, and so just gonna have to stay tuned to see what's up next. But we're definitely gonna do case prep, and we'll show that off to you next time. Till then, this is Fred with Bravo 1 X-Ray. Have an awesome day.